Bom's character arc through Season 1 to Season 2 clearly shows how this theme is at the forefront of Tower of God. However, it isn't just shown through Bom, and it's not so straightforward that it's just exploring the idea of loss of innocence. This story has a lot to say about it already from just 2 seasons, so let's get right into it. Starting with Bom, he is the most obvious example of this theme to an extreme extent. Initially, the only reason Bom does anything is because of his attachment to Rachel. He begins as a very shallow and naive character, with no real goal of his own. However, he finds Rachel isn't the only one in the world who will show him kindness, and he begins to gain attachment to others around him. While his first friend, Kun, is calculating and worldly, warning Bom of the cruelty of the tower, Bom continues to think the best of everyone and befriends most of the other regulars who are climbing the tower alongside him. His authenticity draws them together and creates a group of real friends by the end of the first season. Of course, there are others manipulating things in the background, and not everything works out for everybody. The tests are often competitive after all. But even after Bom is betrayed by Ho, in an extremely cruel way, Bom still displays his innocent kindness. He considers Ho a friend, even though Ho's last words before he killed himself was that he hated Bom. Afterwards, the funeral Bom holds really shows what kind of person he is. What he has isn't just childlike innocence. There's a special kind of strength in trusting someone you just met and taking them at their word. It's very risky to be this way, but this attitude is what brought everyone together around him, despite the many reasons for them to be enemies. It's not until the final test of Season 1, when Bom is betrayed by the one he loves the most, that the negative aspects of his optimistic innocence is shown. The way he dealt with everyone around him was admirable. However, what he felt towards Rachel was more like obsession. Rachel is an extremely selfish and evil person for betraying the one who cared the most about her. But Bom's relationship with her also seemed unhealthy. In the same way Rachel would do anything to climb the tower, it seemed Bom would give up anything just to be with her, as we see during the Crown game, where he gives up a chance at victory for himself and his team to protect Rachel. That's why her betrayal hurt him in a deeper way than Ho had earlier. Bom genuinely thought Ho was his friend, but he didn't have his own identity beyond the girl that found him in a cave and taught him about life. This leads to Season 2, where Bom goes full Eren Yeager. At least it seemed so from the first few episodes. We see Bom from an outside perspective, so we don't know what he's thinking until later in the season. But we see he no longer initially trusts those around him. He hasn't been turned into a bad person exactly, but he is harsh and singularly focused on his goal. He's gotten older and more cynical. However, I can't just use character development to prove that this is a major theme of the entire story. A theme has to be more central to the narrative than that. There should be more examples, and there are. With Bom's innocence gone, we are introduced to his replacement in Season 2, Wang Nan. Wang Nan is a great continuation of this theme because he's not just another Bom. In many ways, he's more reminiscent of someone like Kun. He's not genuinely friendly at the start of his test. He charges in to fight before being cowed by Bam and changing to a different strategy. Wang Nan is a good con man for lack of a better term. Very reminiscent of Reagan from Mob Psycho, he's pretty good at talking his way out of situations. It's obvious he mainly wants to climb the tower, and much of what he does is to that end. However, it's also obvious he really cares about those around him. Although he warns missing, I don't know Korean, not to trust anyone, it's clear Wang Nan doesn't follow those principles. Much like in Season 1, an unlikely group quickly becomes friends around Bom, but this time it's not because of him. Wang Nan's charisma and the others being decent people led them to being a real team. All of this is very reminiscent of Season 1. Now, what really shows how Wang Nan embodies this theme is his treatment of Naya after he was betrayed by him. A friendly kid that had delivered food to him while he was in massive debt betrayed their group during an extremely important test. Wang Nan's first reaction wasn't to get mad or think badly of his friend. He trusted and stood by him despite the betrayal, very similarly to Bom in Season 1. But the thing about Wang Nan is that he hasn't been sheltered in a cave. He didn't have someone to hold on to, and he didn't have a peaceful life that gave him the ability to trust and make friends with people who should be his enemies. This is where the theme becomes more interesting. Wang Nan has something more than just cynicism or innocence. What he really has is both. From being orphaned and currently at risk of losing his organs due to his massive debt, he understands and expects the cruelty of the tower. However, he also chooses hope. He's understanding of those in hardships, like Bam once he learns about his situation, and Naya, and he declares that he will become the king of the tower to make it a better place, where people aren't incentivized to be enemies. Now we are on to the final aspect of this theme about the loss of innocence. Bam loses his innocence after being betrayed and must struggle through the new situation he finds himself in, while Wang Nan chooses not to lose his hope despite his hard life. Rachel, however, is the exact opposite of both of them. She doesn't go through something that causes her ruthless attitude, and instead of choosing hope, she chooses cruelty. Rachel goes out of her way to give up her innocence, to be special and climb the tower, while the naive Bam, who gives up nothing, gets everything that she wanted without even asking for it. This makes Rachel an incredible antithesis to Bam, while showing how different characters react to learning of the cruelty of the world, from Anak seeking revenge to Serena Rin leaving the dangerous tower to live a safer and simpler life. It's a great reminder that there are those, not just reacting to a misfortune or a newfound understanding of cruelty, who choose evil based solely on their own desires. Rachel is the worst version of losing innocence, willingly giving it up for her own ambition. She is easily one of the most hated antagonists, and for a good reason. But I think she is a phenomenal character as well to balance out this theme. Although I haven't read much of the manhwa, and only have the context of how much the anime has adapted so far, I predict this theme will carry throughout the story. Characters like Missing, still don't know how to pronounce that name, are already set up to bring new perspectives to it, while we see Bam still holding on to some of his innocence, while being put in more and more difficult situations that may strip it all away. Overall, the real experiences of tragedy, betrayal, and loss is what causes these characters to grow up and lose their innocence. And while that isn't necessarily a bad thing, I believe Tower of God is trying to show that there are some aspects of childishness that shouldn't be given up. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, check out my previous video on Cube from Madoka Magica. That video did really well, and I appreciate all the support on it. Also, check out the perks of becoming a channel member by hitting the join button after you subscribe. That's all for me. Jamyo.